Let's go on then to discuss a story first reported by Kieran Andrews, political editor of ITV News Borders. Retiring female SNP MSPs do not need to be replaced by female candidates. In a change of the party's rules, this means that Stephen Flynn could theoretically stand to replace Audrey Nicholl in his seat of, well, his preferred seat is how Kieran refers to it, Aberdein South and North Kincardine. That wouldn't have been possible in 2021. Geoff, should/will Stephen Flynn stand?
Yes, will he stand? Should he? Well, it's up to him, really, isn't it? I mean, I can't answer that. I mean, I think he's shown he's got talent. I also think he's shown he's got some flaws. I think he's been a little bit rough around his reaction to the Starmer stuff. And there's a kind of golden rule, when geopolitical events take shape. Just keep your powder dry till you see where the cards are going to fall before you jump to any conclusions. And I think rightly he was kind of called out for that. But he's got raw talent and he's a capable figure. Would he be an asset to the Scottish Parliament? Yes. Now, in terms of the rule changes, I think it goes without saying we need to see more women trying to get into it. Not just women, across all different ethnic groups, greater diversity, greater breadth of people and experience. Yeah, so like not just people that come through the party, through being councillors and activists, whatever, but people that have been there in different walks of life. We want a whole breadth of skills and expertise of people applying for to become members of the Scottish Parliament. So I'm not against the rule change, but I think it's incumbent on the parties to encourage as many people from these different walks of life to actually go forward and put their compelling visions towards the branches and then get elected. So I actually think it's a good thing. And yes, Stephen Flynn will stand. And yes, I think he'll win.
Interesting.
There is this dilemma, and Geoff articulated it. We do need a more balanced Parliament. It's really important that the Parliament is more representative of the population. But at the same time, the Parliament really needs good people, and we can't afford to turn away good people because they don't fit a demographic profile. I think the saddest thing about this whole episode is that Audrey Nicholl is a brilliant MSP. And frankly, if I had my pick, I would rather Audrey Nicholl and Stephen Flynn were both in the Scottish Parliament rather than just one of them, to be honest with you. But yes, on the basic question of, should Stephen Flynn be an MSP, would the Scottish Parliament, would Scottish politics be better for Stephen Flynn being an MSP? The answer is just very obviously yes.
We're up away over 20 MSPs now, I think, who are going to be standing down at the next election. We'll be speaking to Liz Smith before the end of the podcast, in fact, on that. And just on a related note, there is speculation growing that the First Minister may be looking at making changes to his top team, to his cabinet, because actually a number of key members of the government have announced that they will be standing down in 2026. Finance Secretary, former Deputy First Minister Shona Robson is the most senior figure to decide not to stand. The Transport Secretary Fiona Hislop, Business Minister Richard Lockhead also announcing their departures as well. So, Geoff, are we looking at a reshuffle? Should Swinney reshuffle now-ish to give a year for new people to kind of settle in?
Yeah, can I just make a very quick point about what Andy said about Audrey Nicholl there? I know Audrey reasonably well. She's my local MSP, done a huge amount of work on the Justice Committee. She's really passionate about it. She's a previous police officer. And just like Liz Smith, I'd like to see a role for Audrey Nicholl in public life, not necessarily elected politics, but thereafter, because that's the type of experience and expertise that you need in forming and influencing our public policy. Yes, I said in my New Year's predictions that I thought there was going to be two reshuffles, one at Westminster, one at Holyrood, both before the summer recess. I've seen nothing that changes my mind on that. I think John Swinney wants to blood a new team to show that he's gearing up for the election, and this is the team he's going to put forward to be elected at that contest. It's something that reminds me of 2011. We campaigned on record team vision. A key component of that was the team. It was Alex Salmond, it was John Swinney, it was Nicola Sturgeon, it was Kenny McCaskill, it was Alec Neil, and I think John Swinney wants to do the same as well. So look out for that. I think probably post the Easter recess would be my guess.
Okay. I suppose, Andy, there's a thought there, isn't there? It's kind of letting new faces settle in, but actually, what does giving them a year look like? For example, the new Transport Secretary still won't have the A9 dualled, for example. Well, what is the purpose?
And that's quite handy, so you don't get lumbered with a bloody...
Right, so is that what it's about? That's what it's about.
No, it's not.
The Transport Secretary going into the 2036 election won't have the A9 dual either. But I mean, look, I think there's a...
you could go further.
Yeah, you could, record team vision. So here's where I think that will differ in 2026, is I think they'll go pretty light on record, to be honest, and go much heavier on vision.
They have to.
For obvious reasons, right? But I think they could do a good job. I mean, well, they are doing quite a good job on vision. The polls, to a degree, tell you they're doing quite a good job on vision. I'll be interested to see what happens in terms of team, because there are different schools of thought as to what John Swinney could do here. The cabinet is very big. It's very, very big. Yeah. Coming into an election, maybe it would be a better idea to have a smaller number of top-tier cabinet ministers to comprise your team and get a bit of name recognition and visual recognition for the voters as well. You don't need 11 or however many it is cabinet ministers. You could actually do a better job of redesigning what cabinet looks like, as well as getting different people in there. Now, John Swinney is a cautious man. Maybe he won't do that. Maybe he'll just go like for like and take it easy. But I'd like to see him actually, to a degree, starting from a blank sheet of paper and saying, what roles do we actually need here and who should perform them? Yeah.
Can I just come in on that? I agree with one point, disagree with another. On the record team vision, I don't think the Scottish Government have a particularly coherent or appealing vision. I don't think that's the reason that they're doing well in the polls. I think they're doing well in the polls because they're the Labour Party down south, and some of the policy interventions that we've gone over so many times here that are not carrying favour with the people. I think the vision's the bit where they can make most gains if they get it right, and so I think that's something that they have to work on. Equally, it can be viewed as a risk. Totally agree, though, on the fewer number of cabinet secretaries and ministers. I think a tighter team would be much more effective. Obviously, you can argue that it's less public expenditure and all the rest of it, but the real benefit of that is a tighter team can make quicker decisions and deploy interventions a lot quicker. I mean, again, in 2007, I think we only had 6 cabinet secretaries, and we did all right. And okay, yes, government has got more powers and responsibilities, I accept that, but not equating to the level that we have now in terms of the cabinet secretary ministerial team. So I think I would definitely look at that.
You heard it here first. Have a listen out and we'll keep you up to date if there is a cabinet reshuffle in the next few weeks. Just before we get then to Liz Smith, I want to spend a couple of minutes talking about the Alba party and their leadership contest, which is ongoing at this point. And, well, I'm going to play you the clip, actually, of a conversation that Ash Regan and Kenny McCaskill had with the aforementioned Kieran Andrews, where they clashed over who Alex Salmond would want to succeed him.
He never said that to me because I don't think he anticipated that being an issue. What he did say to me is that he wanted me to put myself forward for the deputy leadership at the conference. And his view on that was that you couldn't have the only parliamentarian in the whole party not in the top leadership team.
Kenny, that would have meant going up against you. Was that something Alex Salmond discussed with you?
Never discussed it. We had a meal, his wife and my wife and Alec, shortly before he went away to North Macedonia. All those who know Alec well, his family, his sister, his niece, his wife, have all endorsed me. I think they knew who had Alec's back, who spoke out for him, who was with him right the way through that journey, and that was me.
Am I the only one who finds that quite uncomfortable to listen to? I suppose I get why they are referencing Alex Salmond, a leader of their party, a hero of their movement, etc. But Geoff, it is uncomfortable, I think.
First time I've heard that, I found that quite tough to listen to. Look, I have massive respect for Kenny McCaskill. I worked alongside him for many years, and I don't know Ash Regan as well, but I've got respect for her because she, put her money where her mouth is and stood down from the government for an issue she believes in. So I think they're both strong candidates for leadership. But, I just find the whole thing pretty morbid what Alec would have wanted. Alec didn't want to die, and I'm not really entirely sure that anyone really truly knows what he thought in his head. And I think the answer should have just been, look, the key for us is to build on the legacy, and I feel I'm the best candidate to build on his legacy, and here's why. I just don't like this stuff. I felt very uncomfortable listening to that.